sometimes when things are really easy, that is the problem. For example, we've all been at a party, you see a friend, you haven't seen them in a long time. They've really become more of an acquaintance, but whatever. You've been around each other, you still see each other from time to time, so you still call them a friend and kind of act like they're a friend, but they're an acquaintance. And you have a good conversation with them, and it feels like, oh, it's kind of like we're friends again. And you go, well, we should hang out sometime, because it's easy to say that. But once you get confronted with, okay, well, now I actually need to set up plans with this person in lieu of setting up plans with all of these other people, including my regular close friends and my family and, in my case, my wife or whatever it might be, then you go, actually, I don't want to do it. But it was so easy to invite that person to say, the idea of us getting together again is so simple. It sounds so good, and we should absolutely do that. But in practicality, it stinks. Kind of makes you look bad, and it's just a waste of everybody's time. And podcasting has elements of that. The simplicity, how easy it is to go and execute a show, can actually make you look worse. And we're going to talk about that today and how to fight against it. So welcome back to It's Not Just Talking. I'm Vince Quinn, your executive producer, and I'm here to help you sharpen your podcast strategy, improve your production processes, and build your hosting skills so you can put more time back into your business. So part of this, the ease of things, is very much connected to stigma. And when you think about a podcast, a lot of times it's disposable. It's toilet paper. There's an episode every single week. It's coming again and again. And when you're doing it every week until infinity, and all these other people are trying to do it every week until infinity, and they die after 3 weeks, and it's a complete waste of everybody's time, like something about podcast feels disposable and to some degree doesn't feel valuable. How easy it is to set up a show detracts from the quality because it's not a hard thing to put together. You can do it on your phone, audio only. You can just make a feed for free and put it up there and start telling everybody you have a show, whether you really do or not, whether the ideas are good, it's well structured, you're interesting as a host, or like it doesn't matter. It's easy to put the show together. So people just don't treat it like it's all that valuable. And that's an easy trap to fall into, but it's your show. It's your marketing. You have made the investment. You should not look at it like this simple, easy, disposable thing. It's not a valuable thing. It might be an experiment early on. You're getting used to it. But as you're starting to do the show, you really need to be serious. And this is really where it all comes together, is it's about equipment. Because it's the presentation of the show. And when you think, oh, well, it's so easy and it's not a big deal. A lot of people have podcasts and they just get them started and it's people kicking around ideas and you figure it out over time, which is what everybody says. And to some degree you do. But I'm really big on being purposeful when you start your podcast, right? It's a whole pilot process. You want to try the show, test out theories, make sure the concept is good. Then you go live once you've got 6 episodes recorded and you know what it looks like, you know what it sounds like, you've got intention behind it, your business is pretty well developed, and now how that ties into your business as a podcast, all those things come together. That's a lot of thought. That's a lot of energy. And you want to project that to the people that you're trying to help. And to go out there and say, hey, everybody, I'm going to help your business. I'm going to make you so much better. But I'm on these AirPods and it's really hard to tell what I'm saying. And people have to strain to listen to it. Like, think about the lost opportunity of establishing yourself. All of these people that come and go because they listen to your show, and when they compare you to your competition, which is everything on the planet, they go, this sound quality is terrible. And think about how big of a miss that is. Let's just talk about microphones, right? Just forget video for a second. Let's talk just about microphones. It's a podcast. It's a podcast. That is the one, you need one piece of equipment, really. A microphone. That's it. And microphones, not incredibly expensive, because There's a million people out there making microphones because so many people have podcasts, and there is so much value in making good business content that people want to make microphones. There's good business in making them, which also means there's good business in the premium mics that could cost you a couple $100s, and there's good business in the junk mics, or just which also exist, but there's budget mics that are $50, $75, $100, make you sound super good and professional and gives value to the time that you're committing to the show. You're doing the show. How much time are you putting in to plan this thing, to edit this thing, to post about this thing, to tell people about it in parties or networking events, to get them to just listen to the damn thing so maybe someday they'll become a client? Well, then put in the microphone, right? Like, think about that investment, what that small investment is, and what it adds to the professionalism, the seriousness of it. Because if you're going to do this professional show and you're not willing to do the bare minimum of a basic piece of equipment that is not expensive, that drives your marketing, then what are we doing here? You don't have to buy a $300 microphone right away. Like I'm saying, $50 can take you a long way, give a little bit of legitimacy to this, and get people to be more interested. Because implicitly, if your audio sucks and you are putting out a bad product and it is an only audio show, how serious are you? And when you're doing this as a real commitment, you've decided to green light the show. You don't need to do it for a pilot. Hey, test the pilot, do it for free. Like, no problem. But if you decide you want to take that show and make it a real thing, then you should probably go back and record that show with a microphone if you didn't have one to start. And continue to do that the rest of the way. Or if you've had a show and you've been doing it for a while and you haven't bought a microphone, go buy that microphone. If you're listening to this, chances are that your business podcast is struggling, but you're not sure what's holding it back. That's why I created the Podcast Compass Quiz. And in just 5 minutes, you'll get clarity on what's working, what's not, and where to focus your energy next. Best part? It's completely free. So hit the link in the show notes to take the quiz now. Get a used microphone. Get a used camera. If that's what you need, if that's what it takes, because your budget is tight, go and do that. But the quality of what you're going to get, and it's not just in the moment with the show, it's everything beyond that, because we talk about repurposing content constantly. This show becomes a lot of different things. It's social clips and different posts, and we want to turn them into carousels and newsletters. It's the newsletter. It's a big part of that. Like, it's a big part of everything in our marketing, and to have a clear bit of audio and a clear bit of video that gives you those clips, that makes it easier for a transcription to come through with the proper language, actually understand you. That all comes together through a small investment in equipment. You can post those clips. If you have a good clip that comes out of this show now with high quality, you can post that 10 years from now. And sure, the equipment will age and look a little bit older, but the value's still good. It's still clear. You can still see it, hear it. People understand exactly what you're talking about. But if that audio quality is bad now, how good is it going to be compared to 3 years from now, compared to 5 years from now, 7 years from now, 10 years from now? Like, you don't get that longevity from what you're doing because you'll be embarrassed when you go back. And think about how silly that is when, again, you're making all of this time and all of this energy. You're bringing guests onto the show. I mean, if I'm a guest on your show and you have AirPods in, I am never coming back. Unless you're the greatest conversation I've ever had. Why would I come back? You don't respect your own show. And now I've got to ask other people. You're asking me to promote this show where you haven't put in the expense to be serious about it on a professional level. And I'm trying to invite these people to come in and listen to that. What does that do for me? I'm a podcast professional. That makes me look bad to some degree. Go make those investments. Again, it's very affordable. It's not going to cost you much. Let's even take it a step further. Let's talk about overall business value, because it's not just the marketing and the clips and the longevity of that and the relationships that you can build, the authority that it helps support. But this can apply to your meetings too. We're in a remote world, aren't we? Odds are you either sit in an office and take calls there, and you're talking with people all across the country, and it's video calls. That's really become the standard. It's a video call. It's not a phone call. Here's my calendar. Here's a Google Meet. I'll see you then. So you operate like that. And maybe you do it at home, all the same. But when you've got that microphone, when you've got that camera, you can use it for your meetings too. It's pretty official. Now, when you're talking to prospects, you've got quality visuals. They can see you clearly in a higher definition, which is going to build a better connection. They're going to hear you better, so they don't have to strain. They can focus more on what you're actually saying rather than, what did they say? And by adding that professionalism to what you do, again, it adds gravity, it adds seriousness to what you're doing, and it gives you the opportunity to also promote the show. Because the number of times that I've gotten into a meeting and I sit down and people see a quality visual, a quality camera, and they see the microphone, whether it's here, like if you're watching on YouTube, I'm in the studio, or I'm at home and I do episodes. I've done, guest spots and things. I've done those from home. People will look at the setup and they'll just go immediately, oh, nice setup. And it's like, well, yeah, I've got a podcast, I'm hosting a show, I'm being a guest on shows, and it just naturally opens up the door. So you get this secondary benefit of not just helping your business, but even beyond that, it gives you a natural way to talk about your podcast and these other meetings, other conversations that you're having where the show normally would not be relevant. It would be kind of awkward if you're like, so yeah, for next quarter, we've got these plans. By the way, I've got a podcast. It's not going to fly. It's going to make you look weird. So it just gives you that natural transition because it's going to invite people in to ask about the equipment that you've got or be impressed with it. So there is a lot of value that just goes beyond the show. And when you're going back and thinking, hey, yeah, these microphones can be $50, $75, $100. The camera, $100, $125. That's $200 to get quality marketing content all the time, to have these good relationships in your meetings, get through clearer to the kinds of clients that you're talking to, the relationships you either want to build or maintain, and just promote the show. So there's a lot of value in it, but don't get caught in that trap. Oh, it's just a podcast. I'm figuring it out as I go. It's this scrappy operation. It does not have to be. And when you're doing it for your business, it really shouldn't be. There should be some minimum of this is the quality that I'm going to accept for what I will put out as a professional product. You're not an entertainer. This isn't a zero budget affair. You're a business that makes money. So put that together. And the more that you do that, the happier you are going to be. I mean, you're going to see an instant improvement, and you'll be surprised because we've done that with shows where we've come in and improved their equipment. And the comments that will start to pop up. Oh my God, I love what you guys have done with the audio. It's coming through so much clearer. It sounds so much better. I'm so happy. I don't have to blast the volume the way that I used to or anything like that. It makes a real impact. Go look for some equipment, see how you can add it to your show, and things will be so much better. So take it to heart. Talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe to the newsletter to get more podcast insights. That link is in the show notes. And if you're feeling stuck with your podcast, let's figure it out together. Book a free 10-minute chat with me. The link to do that is also in the show notes. Talk to you next week.